weapons of mass destruction, we shall propose further cooperative efforts between all the nations in weather prediction and eventually in weather control.
Sure. Another question on the in the interview with the Los Angeles Times on April 21st, you said that you told the Associated Press that the American government has created weather tampering techniques so that the New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans and to control the rest. Would you explain what you were trying to say?
Well, what I was trying to say is exactly what I said. There is weather control techniques. We have a complete package on that, which I did not bring, but I certainly will see to it that it is brought in for the record. Number one, the entire patents on the equipment. Number two, Senator Claiborne Pell's complete statement and story of his own that not only does it exist, but that we even utilize it as far back as the Vietnam War. You might want to touch base with Senator Pell.
I just want to repeat before I turn to questions.
So yes, but we do have all that information.
You're saying the government has created weather tampering techniques so that the, quote, New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans.
Worldwide.
Millions of Americans, and to control the rest.
Yes, sir, and that's my belief. As bizarre as that sounds, if somebody had told me that equipment even existed 10 years ago, I would have thought they were nuts, sir. And at this point in time, we have all the documents to prove it. And if you think that 85 tornadoes takes place in the middle of our growing area by simultaneous accident, I'm sorry. With the equipment that's already set up internationally, and as bizarre as that is, it is proven and documented. We will supply you with those documents. As bizarre as that is, I would say that weather wars, and this is quoting actually Senator Claiborne Pell himself, that they are the greatest weapon ever created in the world, and that's the senator's own statement. So yes, I do stand on that.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Let's talk about the weather modification theory for a second here. Weather manipulation can take on many different types of forms, actually. One form could be changing or creating specific weather events, from simple rain to natural disasters like hurricanes. So if the government wanted to, they could create an earthquake or a tsunami anywhere in the world using this HAARP technology. The U.S. actually has participated in weather manipulation before. During the Vietnam War, the U.S. used cloud seeding as a military tactic. Planes seeded clouds to make the monsoon season longer over strategic locations on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And this was part of a highly classified Operation Popeye. The U.S. Air Force wanted to disrupt the flow of military supplies to the North Vietnamese army, and instead of just bombing the trail, they used cloud-seeded rains to soften roads and cause landslides. Operation Popeye was allegedly sponsored by Henry Kissinger and the CIA, and this chemical weather modification was conducted over Cambodia, Vietnam, and Laos.
Receive modules, and this antenna can detect an object the size of a baseball at a range of 2,500 miles. That is why I say this thing can project all that power into a pinpoint beam, totally computer controlled. The dome is 120 foot diameter. The power source is 3.6 megawatt generators for a total of almost 22 megawatts. And this HAARP platform has a tow ship to move it around, so that 22 megawatts is not actually designed to go into the engines. That is designed to go into the transmitter unit. Other U.S. Navy ships have powerful microwave transmitters. This is the U.S. Navy ship Howard O. Lorenzen. It looks small, but it's actually 534 feet long. Each phased array, the boxes on the top of the deck, is a phased array transmitter, synthetic aperture radar, whatever you want to call it, weighs 250 tons, and there's a crew of 88 on board. This is a gigantic ionospheric heater again.
You know, they were talking about climate change yesterday, and now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning. CBS This Morning contributor Michio Kaku is a physics professor at City College of New York. Professor, nice to see you. Extraordinary seeing Al Gore and Bill Clinton there together with Charlie, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they did not get into this discussion,
no.
though. But it is fascinating. I mean, lasers, really, to change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far it works. When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning.
Go ahead.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds.
Cloud seeding is something that I studied in school for meteorology, weather modification. Back when I went to school, it was like, I poo-pooed a little bit. It was too expensive. It's not efficient enough. Well, guess what? When you get desperate and then technology gets better, 20 years later, here we are. Cloud seeding is ramping up so big. You see me there showing that flare on the plane. They send silver iodide into the clouds, and then it makes it snow more.
Oh, wow.
So they can't make a cloud, right? But they're taking storms that are already there and then giving it a little boost.